Before we get started, I want to encourage you to check out all the other great content on this channel. Just did an Ask Dr. Testosterone today. Yesterday, I put up a great interview with Terrence Rough Diesel Ruffin. Tomorrow morning, we have MD Global Muscle. We have Brazilian Beat every Thursday. Bikini News from Lauren Lauder and Buff Bombshell. Tons of great content on this channel, but let's get into it, guys. As you all know, Michal Krizo, also known more commonly as Krizo, Michal Krizo from Slovakia, just got his pro card at the Amateur Olympia in Italy that was held the day before the Tsunami Cup. Foregone conclusion, you know, he was a pro amongst amateurs, blew the show away with 65 to 70% conditioning. He wasn't in shape at all because he didn't need to be. Didn't need to be in any kind of shape. He was just monstrously dominant. So that was 3 weeks out from what will be his pro debut. And some people wondering, well, why didn't he do the Tsunami Pro the next day, you know, with Hollingshead and Mark Hector and those guys? Well, Krizo's sponsor is EVLS. They are the promoters and sponsors of the EVLS Prague Pro in Czech Republic. So they want him to do his pro debut there, and why not? I mean, they're paying him good money to represent their company, and so I think it's a perfect fit. So been checking out the footage, and I'm sorry I don't have it here for you to look at, but I'm sure a lot of you guys have already checked it out. He definitely needs better condition. In 3 weeks, I don't know who else is going to be at that Prague Pro, if anyone's really at his level to push him, assuming he gets in much better condition, which I have no doubt this is strategic. I think they knew, he and his coach, I think they knew it would be in his best interest to pace himself, because theoretically he's looking at Prague Pro to make his pro debut and then the Olympia in December. So peaking 100% now would have been really tough on his body and mentally to try to hold that peak condition. But now as we get into Olympia discussion, because I'm just going to assume, which a lot of people will assume, that he is going to qualify. He is going to win that Prague Pro. You know, I don't know who else is in it, but everyone that's really, really good is already qualified for the Olympia. So now the discussion has to turn to, how is he going to look next to the top 10 at the Olympia, plus some new guys. So we're talking about Big Ramy, the two-time reigning champ, Brandon Curry, former Mr. Olympia, Hadi Choopan. No joke, Hadi Choopan is just stacked with dense, striated, detailed, seasoned muscle. Hunter Labrada, currently like 285 or something. Great shape with Hunter. Nick Walker, come on, I know you guys in Walker Nation out there. You love Nick. Nick is just stacked with all kinds of muscle. William Bonac, Ian Valier, Justin Rodriguez, Akeem. Justin is going to get their own points. Akeem Williams, Mohammed Shaban, and then you have the new guys. Andrew Jacked, Blessing Awodibu, James Hollingshead, Samson Dauda. James isn't new, and you know, Blessing's been around a little while, but these are all guys that they're not small people. I'm just saying that Krizo's not going to really dominate. He's not going to be by far the biggest guy on stage at the Olympia. He's going to have very, very tough competition, especially from the back. So let's get to your comments, because you guys are very astute. You're fans of the sport. You always have really good. Let's see. Type 1 for Red Pandas. Daniel Noble, do you think he could have beaten James? In the condition he was in Italy, not a freaking chance. No way. No. He was very soft in the lower body. The back looked pretty soft to me. He was not peaked at all. He was not peaked at all. Not even close. Hollingshead looked fantastic. So I think that's, yeah, Hollingshead. The way Hollingshead looked on Sunday winning Tsunami Pro versus the way Krizo looked the same weekend, it wouldn't have been close. Jay Cherry, I don't think he will do well at the Olympia because his legs and back need more work. They aren't as big as his huge arms, chest, and shoulders. Yeah, it's not a truly balanced physique. I see some chinks in his armor. The torso is a little bit long. Doesn't have a tremendous V-taper from the front as someone with lower lat insertions, and you know, not a short torso. You don't want a torso that's too short either, but somebody with the correct proportions. I'm just being very, very picky because we're talking about the Olympia. These are the best bodybuilders on the planet, bar none. And you know, Krizo has been this X factor for years because he was winning everything over in that other organization, the Elite Pro League. And the speculation was, well, what would he look like on the IFBB Mr. Olympia stage with those guys? And, you know, assuming he wins Prague Pro, we're going to find out very soon. Samson says, Samson 12321. He's talking back to Daniel and says, definitely would have beaten James. Not the way he looked there. No, he wouldn't have beaten James. I'm not sure why people keep upholding James some standard when he has no abs torso. Yeah, just not that great. Well, so I guess if you're saying if Krizo had been in 100% condition, would he have beaten Hollingshead? I mean, probably. Yeah, I mean, he's pretty damn good, Krizo. We wouldn't even be talking about him if he wasn't that good, right? How do I get out of this thing? Ooh, oh boy. Now I'm looking at an ad for the lottery or something. So I want to get back to your questions, guys. Yeah. I mean, Hollingshead is no joke. He's been up there at the Olympia a couple times now. I've never seen James look his best at the Olympia. The Olympia, he seems to flatten out. Something happens to him when he does that show. He looked fantastic when he won the Europe Pro last year. He looked really good here at the Tsunami. He won the Arnold UK last year. He looked really good. When he gets to the Olympia, I don't know if it's traveling, the pressure and stress of the contest. Let's see. Bike mate PK. I don't think he'll crack even top 5 for this year. Can't say the same for next year though. Yeah, I just think he needs time. Top 5 is going to be a very, very tough top 5 this year. I mean, if you're assuming it's going to be very similar to last year's top 5. Obviously, Rami's going to be there. I don't see Brandon Curry. As much as people talk crap about Brandon, he's going to go down this year. I mean, he was second place last year. He was very close to Rami. Second place in the Mr. Olympia and a former Olympia champion. To really count Brandon out, these people are, I don't know what they're thinking. Hadi Chupan, yeah, I know that Krizo is much, much taller than Hadi, but man, I mean, Hadi has got a tremendous physique. I mean, what was it? He was second place at the finals last year, but because of the points, he ended up being third in the final tally. But he was really pushing Rami and Brandon Curry very hard last year. Hunter and Nick, no joke. These guys are good. Bonac, we didn't see 100% Bonac last year. We saw much better Bonac a few months later at the Arnold Classic and the Boston Pro. That Bonac is deadly. What else you got to say, guys? Let's go. I feel you, Samson. Why is his midsection not as good? No clear abs. Yeah, I mean, he could have a better midsection. It's going to be a great Olympia show, maybe the best monster win. Could Brett possibly beat Krizo? You mean Brett Wilkin? No, I don't think so. Brett's a work in progress. I assume you're talking about Brett Wilkin. I don't know any other Bretts. Daniel, I don't think Krizo or James will crack top 10, maybe top 12. Any of the Olympian will be different. This is a tough year, guys. This is a tough year. We have all the guys from the top 10 last year coming back, every single one of them, plus Andrew Jack, plus Blessing, plus James, plus Samson. Samson Dauda. Samson is no joke. Samson is going to do very well this year. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. Samson from the UK. Now we got a completely unrelated question, but it's Ask Ron. What the heck? Big boy, what do you recommend to add to my shake to add calories to my daily intake to gain weight? I currently do egg whites, 1 scoop of protein, peanut butter, some cranberry juice, and sometimes a banana. Well, that sounds like a lot of stuff. I would say, can't you eat something with the shake? That's a lot of calories though right there. Egg whites, scoop of protein, peanut butter, cranberry juice, sometimes a banana. I mean, you really want to pile in the calories. You could mix it in with throw in some full cream, full fat cream, like the old school guys did, the coffee creamer, that stuff. Ice cream. Yeah, I mean, if you're having that much trouble gaining weight. Tony Ruggiero, you're dead on with Krizo's physique explanation when he's not cracking top 10 as far as I can see. Believe me, I'm not saying he can't make top 10. I would never sit here and say that. I think top 5 is going to be a real stretch though. Real stretch this year. Just because he still has work to do. He still has improvements to make. I think after this Olympia, if he takes a solid off season and works on his back, works a little bit on the hamstrings, glutes, I think we'll see a different Krizo next year. I don't think he had to really worry about those factors as much because he was winning everything anyway. So I think it's probably going to take getting a spanking. Can I say that? He's going to have to do a lot more poorly than he expected at this Olympia to motivate him. And I'm not saying he's going to. I don't know what's going to happen, guys. I'm not against Krizo, not at all, man. I'm excited to see this guy in the pro leagues finally. It was bothering me for a couple of years that this guy who was so good was never going to be on the Olympia stage, but now he is, theoretically. Raymond Jones, Ronnie Coleman has Krizo placing 6th at this year's Olympia. I mean, everyone's going to have their own predictions and numbers. Maybe he could. I'm not saying he can't do that well. Maybe he will. He does need a back, but you know what? You could say the same thing about other people. Everyone's got something they need more of or less of. There's not one perfect physique up there, not one. You could make critiques about every single one of those guys up there on the Olympia stage, you know, and you will. Let's see. Big Boy, Brandon was known as the Prodigy back in late 2000. People had a lot of people's eyes on him when he was with BSN, yeah. We always love new, fresh faces because it's exciting, because as much as we're fans of these other guys, we've been seeing them for so long, you know, you kind of get tired of seeing them. There's some guys, I'm not going to name names, but all right, Max Charles is one. I've seen Max compete so many times, and I think he's got a fantastic physique, but when you've seen somebody compete like 30, 40 times, it's like, eh. But then you see someone you've never seen before. Like when I saw Andrew Jack in Texas, it's the same reaction everyone had. Everyone was like freaking out because this guy was really good and we'd never seen him before. Tonio Burton at this Legion, I know who Tonio was, of course, but he's a fresh face. He's someone who's pretty new on the pro scene. He's only done a few pro shows, moved up from 212 to open. He's exciting. He's going to Olympia. I didn't even have him in the conversation when we were talking about him before, but Tonio Burton is very, very good. Yeah, Derek Lunsford. Geez, I didn't even mention Derek. Derek's a special invite. Yeah, Derek, you know, can he beat Derek? I don't know. Derek has a more complete physique than Krizo. Size-wise, you know, I know that Derek's significantly shorter than Krizo, but pound for pound, guys like Derek and Hadi, they carry just as much mass on their frame as Krizo does. They're just not as tall. Krizo's what, like almost 6'2", I think? Let's see, Brandon. Anton E, it's Brandon's legs. If you compare his legs to the rest of the men, it's night and day. Yeah, you know, Brandon could use better quads, no doubt about that. Derek Lunsford is a dark star, said Roy Groomsman. Martin the Martian, Martin's not qualified. Martin the Martian. Yeah, Derek, we'll see. I'm very excited to see how Derek does on that stage for sure. Our stuff, why was the IFBB Elite created? Never really understood the split. I don't know every little intricacy of why the organization split off like that, but it was at the 2017 Olympia. It was something, I believe it was something like Raphael he wanted to bring all his own judges in, and the other guys like Weinberger, they didn't want, it was something about the judging panel. He wanted his own judges on there and they didn't, and they had a big rift, and that was the end of, you know, Raphael being part of the IFBB Pro League, or it was just called the IFBB. There was just one IFBB, and then it split off into two. Samson, Krizo is new and people are too harsh expecting an athlete to come looking like a god. First Olympia is more for experience, staying face-to-face with the other competitors and seeing their flaws. Yeah, it's a similar situation to Andrew Jack. I don't think Andrew Jack is ready right now to push Rami or the top, say, 5 guys. I don't know. He could crack top 5, Andrew. But he has work to do also. Andrew's not done. He's a work in progress. He's going to be better than he is right now. Mark my words. He's very good now. He still needs to fill out that frame a little bit. You know, I've heard arguments. He doesn't need any more size. I think he does need a little more size. We've never seen Andrew next to these guys who are so much thicker, like a Rami. And you're talking about someone who, and the possibility of them winning the Olympia, you have to compare them to the champ. So if they can't stand next to Rami and compare on all the factors, structure, completeness of the physique, mass, proportions, you know, and I don't think Andrew's ready to push Rami yet. Will he be? Yeah, I think he will be sooner or later. You give him a year. Let's see. Daniel Noble, Krizo has an Akeem issue, lacking in the back but gnarly everywhere else. Why do you think that is? Everything else on them is crazy. It might be just a genetic thing, you know. These guys, they're the genetic elite, but not all of them have awesome genetics in every muscle group. You'll see a lot of them are lacking in calves. Some of them have these enormous calves. A lot of them are lacking in areas like the chest, the back. Chest and back are 2 areas you see. I think most people can figure out how to train the chest and get an improvement out of it, but genetics play a major role. So like Akeem, yeah, I've never been satisfied with Akeem Williams' back. Everything else on him is fantastic. The back, just the detail more than anything else. And I don't know. It's gotten a little better, but it hasn't gotten a lot better. It's not among the best backs, and you want to be pushing for the Olympia title. And, you know, Akeem's been top 6. That's very elite. To get to the top 6 of the Mr. Olympia, you have to be very good. But he's not going to win it until he gets a better back and better, you know, more thickness and more detail, especially more in the lower lats. But I think his lats, they insert kind of high. I don't think there's much you can do about that. Kevin Ghosh, Ron, do you think Nick Walker will be top 3? I think so. He could be. But, I mean, look who he's got to go through. We're just going to assume Rami's going to win. I don't see anybody beating Rami this year. Nick Walker's damn good. He's got to beat some good guys to get up there. He was 5th place last year. I know Walker Nation, all his fans thought he should have at least been 4th. He should have beat Hunter. But the Hunter fans, they're very happy that Hunter beat Nick. You guys, it's cool to have your favorites and to prefer your favorite bodybuilder's physique over others. That's what a fan is. But it's in the end, it's the judges who have to decide who they like better. Forget Frederic Colomb. Forget top 5 for Lungford. I think he means Lunsford. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't write him off that quickly. Big boy. Phil has a great physique, but it got boring with him winning year after year, basically doing the same stuff. We get bored of anybody after a while. Trust me. I remember when Lee Haney was winning 8. Everyone loved Lee. He's a fantastic person, positive, Christian man. Good. He was great for the sport. An amazing ambassador, and he still is today. But I remember after a while, people were getting antsy. They wanted a new winner because he won 8 years in a row. Same thing with Ronnie. People started getting behind Jay Cutler in the last few years because he was the underdog. He was the new guy, the young guy, trying to take the title. And, people like to root for the underdog. It's just a natural human thing. Once we see someone winning and winning and winning, with some rare exceptions in sports, I know there's some people that are they're dominant and the fans just love them for that. But in bodybuilding, after a while, typically we do want to see somebody new. It's nothing against the champ. It's just human nature. Samson, Ron, have you seen the latest pics of Sukhorochko? Guys peeled beyond belief. To me, peaking too early, hoping to retain his look for the O. Vlad doesn't seem to have a problem staying in shape or maintaining his peak. I don't think that's going to be an issue for him. He's a mass monster, Vlad. He's only 25 years old, from Ukraine, training in Oxygen Gym, right? Yeah, he's in Kuwait. Interested to see how he'll do this year. Mario Ultimate Art, hello, Ron. Joseph, he needs to win a pro show or he gets invited to Olympia. No, Joseph. So Krizo does need to win a pro show. He's making his pro debut 2 weeks from Saturday, or maybe it's Sunday. I don't know which day they're doing the pro show, at the EVLS Prague Pro in the Czech Republic. And I don't know who else is competing, but assuming he tightens up, I don't know who's beating him. I don't know who's left that hasn't qualified the Olympia that's that good that would be able to beat Krizo if he comes in ripped. And he needs to. He can't come in looking like that, and I don't think he would. I think him and his coach, they knew this is all they needed to do to win the pro card, and they were holding off and pacing themselves because, like I said, the Olympia is where they really want to peak 100%. So maybe he's going to be like 90% for the Prague show, and that will probably be enough to win and get his Olympia qualification. But no, he's not invited to the Olympia. They only have one special invite, and they already gave it to Derek Lunsford, so that's what's going on. Roy Grimsman, Nick Walker better do well at top 5 if he has to be well rested and calm and not work for a slave driver sub-sponsor. He has no excuse now. I don't think any of his sponsors were slave drivers. I don't think Hostile. I don't think Fawad was a slave driver and asking too much of Nick. I don't know why they, we've heard Nick's side. I don't know what Fawad said. I mean, whatever. People change supplement companies. It happens all the time in the sport. But yeah, I mean, Nick's looking great. And Nick is back with Matt Jansen, which that gives me a lot more confidence as to how he's going to do. It was nothing against, what's his name? The coach that he had there for Dom Super Sliced. Dom, I'm sure, is a great coach, but Nick and Matt have worked together for a few years. They've done a bunch of shows together. Matt brought him in for his win at New York Pro, his Arnold Classic win, his top 5 at the Olympia. Matt knows Nick's body, knows how it responds to different variables, and knows how to peak him. So I'm much more confident about Nick's chances at the Olympia now that he's with Matt, just because it takes coaches a while to learn their clients' bodies and how they respond to things. And those two have their formula figured out. Raymond Jones, I think Brandon will beat Rami this year. I have Derek placing second. Wow. Stranger things have happened in this wide world of sports, guys. Stranger Things. Yeah, it's a TV show, too, on Netflix. Dale Clark, Ron, your thoughts on Nick Walker's leg veins? Yeah, they're unsightly. They're not pretty to look at, but I don't think it destroys his physique. I don't think they're that distracting. I mean, they're down below his knees. Are you really paying that much attention to his shins? I don't think shins are that critical in bodybuilding. I mean, even there's been guys who do very well with terrible calf development. Nick has good calves, but I'm just saying, one little flaw doesn't make or break somebody. Big boy, Ronnie Coleman run was good with Jay and their rivalry. That was. So Ronnie and Jay is probably the best rivalry of my lifetime in bodybuilding. Since I started following the sport, I should say, in the late 80s. I wasn't around for Arnold and Franco. We saw Phil and Kai. That was a good rivalry too. But Ronnie and Jay, that was epic. That went on for years. It was just great. It was exciting. It was a very exciting era in the sport when Ronnie and Jay were battling all those years at the Olympia. Dale Clark, Ron, what do you think of the time Rich Piana slapped Jason Genova? I'm sure you're familiar with this incident. Did Rich go too far and did he regret it? I don't know. I've never talked to Rich, so I could. Or was it justified? Don Mustachio. Thank you, Daniel. Is that how you say his name? Mustachio. Slapgate. Yeah, Rich Piana slapped Jason Genova. Jason obviously has developmental issues, learning disabilities. I believe he's on the autism spectrum, but he was antagonizing a lot of people for a long time on YouTube, calling people out, talking trash about people. And, you know, you can only do that for so long without some sort of response. And yeah, in the United States, you can't put your hands on people. You can't. Maybe in some countries where you guys are watching, you're allowed to beat people up if you want to, if you're justified or you feel justified. But in the USA, you can't do that. That's like a lawsuit. That's an assault charge. And the fact that Rich Piana was, an enormous human being, like 280 pounds, 300 pounds. Genova was a little short, pudgy, 215 pound. Yeah, it wasn't cool. It wasn't cool. But did Jason have it coming? Yeah, I think he had it coming. But still, it was kind of cringy to watch because this monstrous, imposing cartoon character of a man, Rich, slapping this little Jason dude. Chirag Abrol, will Hadi Chupan be able to win Mr. O ever? Looking at the newcomers now. If you're in Iran, I'm going to say yes, of course. I mean, Hadi's very good. Hadi's great. Like I said, he was second place at the finals last year at the Olympia on Saturday night. He was in second place, but I think he was third at the judging, and he couldn't make up enough points. He ended up in the final tally at second place. But Hadi, if you're second place or third place at the Olympia, if you're top 3 in the Olympia, you're good enough to win on a given day if somebody else slips or you get better. So will he ever win the Olympia? Maybe, maybe not. If you had told me years ago, because I was following the sport and going to the Olympia back in the 90s, if you had told me Kevin Leveroni would never win an Olympia, Flex Wheeler would never win an Olympia, Sean Ray would never win an Olympia, I would say, shut up, of course. One of those guys has to win Olympia. Come on, especially Flex. I was dead sure Flex Wheeler would win an Olympia, but he never did. Same thing with Kevin, same thing with Sean. Let's see. Big boy, does the current Mr. Olympia get any special perks like free first class travel or anything like that? Well, every competitor in the Olympia gets free airfare and hotel for the show. The Olympia and the Arnold Classic are the only 2 contests where all the competitors, their travel and hotel expenses are completely covered by the promoters. They have to cover their own food and everything, but yeah. Does he get first class travel? Rami, I mean, I'm sure his sponsor might upgrade him to that. I don't think Rami can fit in a coach seat. He would need a nice first class seat, especially that long trip over from Egypt. I'm sure he flies first class. Yeah, it's a long air flight, and he's just too big for a regular seat. Much too big. Let's see. Big boy covered by Mr. Olympia. Binks Cat. Jason Genova followed Rich around, was totally harassing Rich. Yeah, Jason was annoying. He was very obnoxious. I knew Jason a little bit. I don't know what the heck happened to him. I haven't heard anything about Jason in a long time, but he could get on your nerves. So, Dale Clark, thanks for answering, Ron. I noticed Genova looked shook up on the verge of tears. Yeah, I think it's out of character for Rich for sure. He probably felt bad afterwards, but still, yeah, I don't think Jason expected to be smacked, physically hit like that. Of course not. I think anybody would be shook up if you're not, unless you're like challenging someone to a fight. Then you're expecting to get punched or slapped or whatever, or kicked. But I'm sure Jason was like, oh my God, he hit me. And this is a monstrous human being, way bigger than Jason. Scary looking, head to toe tattoos. He had like the eyeliner, the crazy eyes. I don't know if those are contacts. He was a scary looking guy. Our stuff. What do you think of? Oh wait, hold on. Let me go back. Stred says, "Shut up." You talking to me? Well, if you want me to shut up, you gotta shoot up. I don't know. Devin Baker. When it comes to the top bodybuilders, how much of their success is them, and how much belongs to their coach? 50-50. I don't want to put any percentages on it, but a good coach can definitely make or break somebody. All these guys at that level have coaches. They need the guidance, especially toward the end. The last few weeks is when a coach is most important because it's very hard for bodybuilders to be objective and look at themselves You know, it's easy for someone to say, oh, I look flat, I better have a cheat meal, and give themselves a cheat meal, where a coach might say, no, 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 you don't need a cheat meal, just do what you're doing. Or they might say, oh no, I'm way behind, I better do more cardio. And left to their own devices, some people will go crazy and do like 3 hours of cardio a day and lose a ton of muscle. A coach really just keeps you from doing dumb shit. That's basically a coach's job. Let's see, Red, you're still ripped, vascular. Rami needs a private jet. How much you weighing now? I'm about 212. Yeah, I'm staying lean. I'm going to Las Vegas last weekend of the month for the Sin City Halloween Ball. I'm going as a gladiator, so the physique will be on display. I can't be fat. See the abs? I do have a hernia, but you can see I got the abs, yeah. There's that hernia. Oof. My wife is really, really upset that I haven't gotten that repaired. I just don't care. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't bother me. Let's see. Binks Cat. Kevin Levrone should have beat Ronnie in 2002. Levrone looked better. Ronnie might be bigger, but Kevin looked best. Yeah, it was a questionable. There's been a few Olympias. You know, the 2007 Olympia where Jay beat Victor. A lot of people had Victor beating him hands down. There have been some, you know, even back in Lee Haney when he beat Lee Labrada in 1990. There's been a lot of questionable calls at the Olympia, going back to even, you know, way back in the Arnold days, of course. Let's see. What does Nick need to do to be able to win the Olympia? What do any of them need to do? They need to be the best bodybuilder that day. And these guys are all so good. They're all so close to each other. They're all huge, ripped. I mean, can you imagine being a judge? I'm sure a lot of you can't, but I sit behind the judges and I'm like, I don't know how these guys do it, because everyone looks so good. It's very hard. You got to start looking for flaws to try to separate, because you can't just say you all win. You got to have first place, second, third, fourth, fifth. It's not easy, guys. I would never want to be a judge. Dale Clark, Ron, speaking of Rich Piana, did you see the footage of him in Peru, basically where he was set up and made to look the fool? Stereotypical bodybuilder who can't move. Rich was told to go sit down. Yeah, was that the one where he was on a TV show and they had him like wrestling or something? Yeah, you know, any bodybuilder needs to be careful making TV appearances to make sure they're not going to clown you, because that's what a lot of them will do. They'll just say, oh, we got this big juice head. We'll make him look like an idiot and we'll get ratings. The people will eat it up. Brian Lee says, as good as Krizo is, we won't really know until he's standing next to Olympians. Yeah, we do know his back is rather weak and his conditioning is not as hard as it needs to be. Conditioning can be fixed. He's going to be much tighter at the Prague show. I'm no doubt of that. And assuming he wins that, which I'm assuming he's going to win that, he's going to have another, like 7 or 8 weeks from there to get tighter and tighter. And that's where he's going to be 100% at the Olympia. I'm sure him and his coach have a plan. I'm sure he wouldn't show up looking like that at the Olympia. He knows he would get last call out. Dale Clark, these wrestlers, and it backfired on him. Another case, people take advantage of his kindness. I think you're talking about, I'm not sure who you're talking about. Call me Jose. Call me Jose. Which physique do you prefer, Andrew Jack or Nick Walker? Talk about apples and oranges. I like Andrew's structure much better. His overall shape and structure. He's got a crazy V-taper, X-frame. Nick doesn't have that. He doesn't have much of a taper compared to that. He's just monstrously thick. He's much thicker. So Andrew's like 290. If Nick's about like 245, but Nick's like 5'7" and Andrew's 6'2". If they were the same height, if Nick Walker was 6'2", he'd probably be like well over 300 pounds on stage. With that amount of thickness, if you could somehow just make him 6'2", I bet he'd be like 320 pounds, easy. Dale Clark, these wrestlers. Oh, sorry. Kevin Clements, afternoon, Ron. Catch you for the last part of lunch. Hey, Jen. Dread, hell yeah, stay strong. PJ pajamas. Binks Cat, Rich was a big Kevin Levrone fan. He said he wanted to pick Kevin's brain, how he gained so much muscle so fast. Well, Kevin wasn't really gaining muscle fast. What Kevin would do is he would stop training, stop gear, stop eating 6 times a day, let his body rest and recover for months and months out of the year. Then he would go back on the gear and the heavy training and the eating, and he would just regain all that muscle fast. It was astonishing to watch, because I remember seeing Kevin. I would see him. So let's say the Olympia used to be in September, October every year for many years, in the 90s especially. I would see Kevin like March or April. I'd see him like at the Arnold, and he would be like so much smaller. Like, oh my God, what happened to Kevin? He's going to get destroyed at the Olympia. But at the Olympia, of course, he'd show up, 250 ripped. All that muscle was back. Plus, he just recompositioned everything. He was just very, very much into saving his body and his health. And I think you look at him now, Kevin looks fantastic. He's 58 years old, you know, fresh looking, young looking, walks around, not in pain like Ronnie. So I think he did the right thing. OPJ Braun, Big Lenny, R.A.P. Rich Panini. Yeah, judging is Mario Ultimate Art. The judging is subjective, of course. It's like, when people say it's not a sport, it's like a pageant. It's the only sports I can think of that are similar, like figure skating, diving, something where it's judged by a panel, and they have to decide who deserves to win. Gymnastics maybe would be similar. It's not a sport where you just put this team puts this many balls, or let's say an individual sport like track. The guy who goes across the finish line first, there's your winner. Second, third, fourth. It's just based on how their time and how fast they run. This is not like that. This is a panel of judges who have to decide who the best, most worthy winner is, and then they have to do second, third, who deserves second, third, fourth. And they're looking at so many different factors. Size is one, structure, shape, balance, proportion, symmetry left to right, condition, even presentation. Some people, if they're really awkward posers and can't show their physique properly, it hurts them. Versus somebody who's really polished poser and knows how to show their strong points and sort of detract your eyes away from their weak points. Jason Genova made you guys. Binks Cat, good Q&A, Ron, did good this stuff. Thank you, appreciate it. What do I need to eat again? What cycle, Hemchand Vardhan, what cycle he has used? So if you're asking me what Michal Krizo's drug cycle is, beats the shit out of me, dude. I have no idea. Be right back, smoke break. Okay, go smoke it up. Yeah, you know what? It's funny I saw somebody sent me a cycle that supposedly was Jay Cutler's contest cycle for the Mr. Olympia, right? And it had a bunch of like peptides and SARMs in it that didn't even exist back then. I said, 3 of the things on this list didn't even exist when Jay was competing, so this is complete bullshit. So guys, when you see this is so-and-so's cycle, oh, I know it for sure because somebody knows somebody who knows him or his coach. Just take it with a grain of salt. Don't ever just assume it's real. A lot of times I could sit here and come up with any bullshit fake cycle where someone posted, and I guarantee you a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, that must be right. Yeah. Ruben von Verdi. Why has Wayne DeMillion never interviewed or invited the podcast? Because his story can be interesting. Maybe you know something, Ron. So Wayne's really he's not welcome in the IFBB Pro League world, the NPC worldwide world. He was a promoter for many years. He left. He started his own federation that didn't do well. Yeah, Wayne's just not someone someone that they want to publicize anymore or give a voice to. I'm not interested because I have to deal with all the NPC and IFBB people, and if he's going to talk a bunch of crap about them, which he might, and I can't be part of that because I have to work with those people. So no. Brian Lee, be careful when you come out here to Vegas, Ron. I'm always careful in Vegas. I live in Spring Valley on a strip. Things have been getting crazy. Be safe. Yeah, I mean, I would never go toward near a shady area. I'm not talking to I'm with my wife. I'm not talking to these. I saw so many of these girls. They rob guys. They drug them. They have their boyfriends or pimps or whatever come beat them up and rob them. And there's all kinds of shady crap going on in Vegas. It's a rough place. There's a lot of crime there. A lot of robberies, a lot of violence, a lot of drugs. Yeah, Vegas is not a safe place. I'm going to be very safe. Don't worry. Kevin Clements, Ron, I listened to a podcast with Skip, Andrew, and Scott today about a creepy coach who is allegedly coming on a female bikini clients. What can be done to stop and regulate the coaching part of bodybuilding? You can't really. It's just, luckily we're in this Me Too generation where women don't stand for that crap anymore. In years past, I think a lot of them just kept quiet. They suffered in silence, and now they're like, no. And they put these guys on blast. Some coach sends them a creepy text message, screenshot it, They can save all the evidence. Sends them creepy pictures. Everything can come out. So I think that's helped a lot because I think these coaches, I think I know exactly who you're talking about now. These coaches know they can't get away with that. You can't get away with that. You can't be inappropriate with your athletes or prospective athletes or anything. So it's just self-regulating. I don't think that the Pro League... People want the Pro League to like regulate every little aspect of the sport and the coaching. It's just not, that's not what they're for, guys. That's not what they're for. Let's see what else. Kevin looks young. Yeah, Kevin, Sometimes I like clown him. I say, let me see a close up. And there's like not one wrinkle on him. And I don't think he does Botox or anything. He's taking very good care of himself. Ron Ferdinand, good day, Ron. Hope you're well. Yes, thank you. Hope you are too. Time is muscle. Big Vito looks more impressive than Krizo. Yeah, I'm actually trying to get an interview with him through as one of his coaches. So good Vito, his real name is Vitaly Ogolnikov. He's 25 years old, from Russia, now living in Brazil, sponsored by a company there called Darkness Nation. He looks fantastic. I don't know which pro qualifier he's doing. I think he's doing an amateur Olympia too that's coming up in a few weeks. Yeah, I mean, the shots I've seen, he's every bit as impressive as Krizo. Good Vito. You call him Big Vito. It's Good Vito. I don't know. I want to know where they came up with that nickname. Vital. His name's Vitaly. It's not Vito. I thought he was Italian. Then I'm like, no, his actual name is Vitaly Ogolnikov. He's Russian. What does it feel like being the ultimate bodybuilding authority? I wouldn't say that. Do you ever feel so superior to normal humans? Not at all, guys. If you know what went on inside my head, you know, how insecure I feel at times, like even at my own gym, there's some people there that look just fantastic. I go to a gym with a ton of bodybuilders, competitors, a few pros at my gym. So I see there's some genetic freaks at my gym, guys that make me look like I've never even lifted a weight. Trust me. We even have girls that make me look like I've never lifted. There's some fantastic bodies there. But yeah, I'm not, I don't feel superior to anybody. Trust me. Not at all. Dinesh Kumar, your thoughts on men's physique. These guys look fantastic. I'm going to say that up front. I think it's so impressive to me that they can have those proportions, the super wide delts and upper back with a tiny, tiny waist, big arms, chest, and the midsections are always incredibly detailed, great abs, serratus, everything just like jewels. I don't like watching the division because it bores the crap out of me. There's no posing. I don't like watching any division where there's no posing. I just get bored. So bikini, figure, and men's physique right there. It's hard for me to maintain interest because I came to this from bodybuilding. When I started, there was only bodybuilding. So women's physique, okay, I get that. Women's bodybuilding, yeah. Men's bodybuilding, 212, classic. These all have posing in them, so it keeps my interest. But men's physique, it's just, they do front and back. They don't do any real posing. But yeah, they look fantastic. Don't get me wrong, believe me. I wish I looked like those guys. Those guys are, there's some of these dudes with friggin' 20, 21-inch arms, shoulders out to here, but they have like a waist like this, like a schoolgirl waist. How do they do that? I don't know. How do they build that much muscle without having to eat enough food to blow out their midsection? So props to them. Let's see. Thoughts on my physique, held for review. Thoughts on Antonio Burton. So when he won Sunday night, we went live. And I praised the hell out of him because I'm a huge fan. I think Tonio's got a fantastic physique, beautiful shape and structure, dense, thick muscle, that round muscle, that real bubbly round muscle that comes off the joints like Flex Wheeler had, like Phil Heath had. It's a rare quality. I don't know how he's going to do with the Olympia, but man, he's very impressive. I'd say Tonio is the most improved bodybuilder of the year. I wouldn't say best rookie of the year because that's probably going to go to Andrew Jacked, but most improved, Tonio Burton, from last year when he was a 212 to now, night and day. He's fantastic. Updates on Brandon Curry, says Brian Robson. No, I know he does posts. He makes some posts. He's over in Kuwait. He's training for the show at Oxygen Gym in Kuwait with Abdullah Alutabi, and he does make posts. He's going to look fantastic. Brandon knows what he's doing, guys. He didn't come into the Arnold 100%, and he didn't go to Kuwait early enough. He was like 90% maybe there. I think he will be 100%. He wants his Olympia title back. Bing's Cat, Ron, can you get an interview with Sarah, Piana, and Chanel? That is great content. I don't do that. I don't go after the widows. And no, that's what Dave does. Dave goes after these people's widows, their friends. Let the dead stay dead. I'm not, and I didn't know Rich. I didn't know Rich at all, so I'd feel like I was just taking advantage. If I had known Rich, maybe, but I didn't even know the guy, so I'm not going to go harass his ex-wives and girlfriends. I guess were they both ex-wives? I don't know, or wives. Sovereign Sammy, did you hear about why Lionel Bakey hasn't been his best because of being under legal probation? He can't use any gear and all that. Nick Trigil did a video. Yeah, I saw that, and I feel bad for the guy because he still had a good amount of size, but yeah, he was way out of shape. I mean, the fact that he can't use any gear. I'm guessing financially he's probably not doing very well either because He's probably had to pay lawyers. I don't even know what he does for a living. He was sponsored by a gentleman over there, and that's where it all started. I think that guy got arrested back in 2019. So he lost his sponsor. Then he got in his own legal trouble. I think it was all tied together. So I feel bad for the guy because he was fantastic. Lionel Baeke should have been top 5 Olympia like every year. He was that good. And now that ship has sailed. He's 42 and he can't use gear. He's probably all done. Dale Clark. Ron, what's your thoughts on people who say bodybuilders can't fight? Are they right? Mind you, I don't think many bodybuilders claim they can fight. No. Why would anyone think bodybuilders are supposed to be fighters? That's like saying golfers can't fight. Or it's like saying tennis players can't play golf. They're two different things. You know who can fight? Is people that train to fight. Fighters. Fighters can fight. If you're a boxer, if you're an MMA fighter, if you're a kickboxer, if you're a jiu-jitsu practitioner, if you're any of those things, yeah, you can fight because you train to fight. That's what you do. Why would anybody assume bodybuilders, just because they have muscles, that they're even interested in fighting? Why? I think it's because people get intimidated by the way bodybuilders look, and they see all that muscle and they go, oh, this guy thinks he's tough because he's big. Well, maybe some guys do, but I mean, I think most bodybuilders who've actually been in fights with people who can fight, who've been trained fighters, and they got these trained fighters kick their asses, I think most bodybuilders realize. I mean, I took kickboxing for 8 years, and I went into it thinking, I did sparring. I never did any pro fights or anything. It was just sparring matches with, and I had a helmet. I stopped wearing headgear. But it was with gloves. It was with shin guards. It wasn't like real fighting. I'm not saying it was. But what I am saying is that I routinely got my ass handed to me in sparring matches against people who I would look at them and go, I'll be able to kick this guy's ass because I'm big and strong. It didn't take me long to figure out that having big muscles doesn't do much at all for your fighting prowess. Not at all. If you were, if you train for fighting all the time, hours a day, and you had some muscles, yeah, then you'd be dangerous, obviously. But yeah, the whole thing about bodybuilders can't fight, well, who said they could? I never said they could. I would never say bodybuilders are great fighters, because no. Fighters are great fighters, okay? It's like fighters aren't great. That's like saying fighters can't bodybuild. Yeah, if they don't have a physique, then they're not going to be good bodybuilders. It's completely different things. It doesn't even make sense. Ahmad Bob Arian, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for turning me on and doing the sublingual anavar. Huge difference after a short time. Well, that's Dr. T. I can't take credit for that. But yeah, Dr. Tuliato, so we do a show every Tuesday morning. We did one this morning that was posted. He talks about taking your pills. Instead of swallowing your pills, if you're taking steroids and using pills like Anavar or Winstrol tabs or Anadrol or D-ball, put them under your tongue and let them dissolve. And you bypass a lot of the issues that you would have if you swallowed it going through your digestive system. So do that, guys. Amazon delivery? All right. Kevin Clements. Oh my God, this is a Greek-Scottish guy who used to do YouTubes. Oh, you guys are talking to each other. Brian Lee, in your opinion, who do you see as your dark horse of the oak considering all the new talent? I got to go with Samson. I didn't even finish reading your question. I was going to say Samson. I think Samson's going to shock a lot of people this year, for sure. I mean, yeah, Samson's got everything. He's a big dude. He's got great shape, tiny waist, and Milos is getting him into awesome condition. So, yeah. Ahmed Syed, Hadi was second in 2020 finals. Oh, thank you. Not last year. It's all a blur to me, guys. I've been to so many damn shows. 2021, Brandon was second, both prejudging finals. Thank you for correcting me on that. Daniel Noble, are you willing to speak on the absence of Redcon in the bodybuilding community? Seems like things really changed since Aaron has been gone. I don't know what's going on over there, but yeah, Aaron was obviously much more closely tied into the bodybuilding industry and competitors and the shows. And without him there, the company seems to be going in a more mainstream direction. So, yeah, I really don't have a lot to say. I don't know what's going on over there. I'm kind of sponsored. I get products from them, but I'm not on their payroll or anything. Mario's art, Multiple Art, remind me of Dexter Jackson. I think you're talking about Tonio. Yeah, Tonio Burton reminds me a lot of Dexter. There's a lot of similarities. Sagar Sanyal, who do you think will win the upcoming Mr. Olympia? Mamdou Elsbier. That's who I have winning. Mamdou Elsbier. Who's that? That's Big Ramy, guys. You don't know his real name? How many of you people thought his real name was Big Ramy? I bet there are people out there who think that. Or at least his first name might be Ramy. It's actually Mamdou Elsbier. Dinesh Kumar, I accept your thoughts on men's physique. If make that category as natural, then it's more interesting. We can see real genetic freak. They are all genetic freaks. The guys who are doing well in men's physique, they have awesome genetics. Awesome genetics. And I think a lot of them could move up the classic and do very, very well. A lot of them could. A lot of them have really good legs that we can't see because of the shorts. Although the shorts have gotten tighter over the past few years, I've noticed. And now you can see a lot of these guys do have legs. A lot of these men's physique pros have decent legs, believe me. Only best friend Cone. Brian Robson, wondering how you think Flex Lewis would have done the open class based on what Hadi Chupan has achieved. I think he would have done very well. I mean, top three, top five, no lower than top five. Could he have won? Maybe. You know, I'm bummed that we'll never know. I wanted to see him up there. Kevin Clements, okay, Ryan, getting back to work. Thank you for watching. Everybody keep trying to be the best version of yourself. Bye, Miss Jen. Yeah, I'm going to leave soon too, guys. I have my meal times. I eat 6 times a day. Isn't that terrible? That's bodybuilding. You're like a prisoner to your meals. Let's see what true run. Who do you think will win the upcoming Mr. Olympia? I already said that. Shit, says Tyree Muscle. Okay. Joseph, this year I think you want to say I don't think Krizo will crack top 6, but next year and the year after he definitely can. Yeah. He just needs time. He just needs to make some improvements. Krizo needs some work, but he's going to be damn good. He's very good now. I don't think he's good enough to challenge the very top guys at the Olympia yet, but I think he will be for sure. And I think it's going to take, I really think it's going to take him not making top 5 to really light another fire under his ass and make him come back so much better next year. I've seen guys do that so many times where a poor placing is like the ultimate motivation. Matt Wakeman, I honestly think a lot of the physique guys would be too heavy for classic at this point. Yeah, you're right. Because there's no weight limit in men's physique. And I'm sure a lot of these guys, they carry a lot. There's some of these dudes are big. They're big. If you stand next to them, you're like, I mean, someone like, take a guy who's like 6 foot. I think some of these guys at 6 foot are about 240, which would be over the limit for classic. But yeah, it's just Ratan Sharma Samson versus Andrew Jack, 2 wins. I don't know. Andrew's got a crazy structure. Samson's more complete. He's thicker. I don't know. I want to see that comparison, believe me. Mario Ultimate Art, I need to go to bed, sleep. Thanks for watching, Mario. Rest up. Ratan Sharma, I don't think Krizo will ever get as dominant from the back. I mean, I wouldn't write him off yet. Give him time. What do you think of Derek Lynch for the Pittsburgh Pro? I think he was enormous. He was huge. Joseph, Krizo has everything to become the next Mr. Olympia. He just needs back. He needs a better back. When he fixes that, when he gets his back up to speed to match his front, then we're going to be talking about a potential Mr. Olympia winner. Right now, no. The way he looks right now, no. But give him time. Dale Clark, speaking about bodybuilders being fighters, Ron, remember that Profit Muscle trolling Rich Piano? What do you think the point of that was? I think he was just trolling him for views and, you know, for his own fame and fortune. Oh, man. Where's Krizo? He's probably back in Slovakia. Is that what you're asking? Or you were expecting to see the footage of him the whole time I'm talking or something? I don't know. Anyway, guys, I guess I'm going to wrap it up, guys. It's been a pleasure chatting with you all. I appreciate you all watching. Again, check out all the great content on this channel. We have tons of great content for you to watch. Of course, if you're not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe and hit that bell up there so you know when we're putting out videos. So you get those notifications. And you have to have your notifications on your phone turned on as well. A lot of people don't know that. So that's it. Thank you guys for participating. Always love the chance to chat with you all. That's it. Have an awesome week. Talk to you later.